Function transformation rules, just overall general rules for function transformations. You can kind of deduce that whenever you're looking at manipulating an x value, you're going to be moving horizontally or changing something horizontally. You can also kind of figure out that whenever we have something added or subtracted outside of anything that's not directly associated with x, that's going to be manipulating our up and down movement. You can see here are some general function rules that anytime we have something added to x, it's going to be moving it to the left. Anytime you have something added or subtracted to x, it's going to be moving it to the right. Here's what I was talking about, it being added or subtracted to the outside. I like to think of it like a y-intercept. It's going to be making the line or function move upwards or downwards. Then if we're talking about stretches and shrinking, we know that anything that's going to automatically be outside, again, not manipulating x, but talking about manipulating the function, that's going to be manipulating y. So that's going to have it stretching or shrinking vertically. And then if we have something being multiplied by x, it's going to stretch or shrink horizontally, depending on what it's being multiplied by. So you can see here that whenever we're taking a look at this, I'm going to use yellow. You can see that nothing is happening to x here. It's all on the outside. That's going to be meaning that it's moving downward 4. You can see on this next one that we have something being added to x. Plus 1 would mean that it's moving left 1. I know that seems counterintuitive, but whenever we have a function and something is being added, then it's going to be moving it to the left. You can see on the outside it's going to be moving downward 3. Multiply by a 7x, that means 7 times all of the x values. So that means it's going to shrink horizontally. So anything greater than 1 is going to cause a shrink. Anything less than 1 is going to cause a growth or a stretch. Minus 6 is going to the right 6. Then we got plus 10 and plus 2. So x plus 10 is going to be 10 to the left, and then up 2. You can see here that the function itself is being multiplied by 1/3. This is not a direct manipulation of x, so that means we're going to have a vertical shrink. We know that it's less than 1, it's being multiplied by the y value, so that's going to be shrinking the y value. Here you have plus 9. Plus 9 is going to be moving to the left 9 times. Whenever we get into like how transformations are affecting functions, I'll go more in depth as to why a plus 9 would be moving it left as opposed to right 9. Minus 4 and minus 1. So we're talking about minus 4 is going to be right 4, and that minus 1 on the outside is going to be affecting the y values, making it drop down 1. And we don't have a function there. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. If we're describing these functions and we wanted to just take a look at what is going on, well, we'll just start with this and this. We know that that's what's happening to it, right? So we know that plus 6 means left 6, counterintuitive. And we know that it's going to be minus 8, which is down 8. We're looking at plus 7 and plus 8. That's going to be left 7 and then up 8. Minus 7, minus 8. That's going to be right 7, down 8. Whenever we have a function and then we take the opposite of the x, what rule do we know that whenever we have a function and we take the opposite x values? Whenever we have the opposite x values, it's a reflect over the y-axis. Reflect over y is the opposite x value. That's why it makes it move side to side over the x or the y-axis. We see that the x value is being manipulated. We know that it's greater than 1, and it's being multiplied by it. So being multiplied by a value greater than 1 is going to be a horizontal shrink. So shrink horizontal. You can see here that we're going from a regular normal function to the opposite of the function. So that's going to be the opposite of the y. We know that whenever we go opposite y, that's a reflection over x. So reflection over x. These are just general basic rules to be able to understand how to manipulate a function and how they're going to be transforming. So just remember that the plus 7 or whatever plus with an x is going to be moving left, and then minus whatever to the x is going to be moving right. Anything not directly manipulating x is going to be associated with vertical movement or stretching.